Don't you just hate losing over and over again in HVV? Yeah, well, I used to too. But with my help and just 5 simple, super easy, super effective tips, you can become a Battlefront god like I am as well. And now, why should you listen to me? Well, because not only am I by far the best player in the entire world, I'm also the best teacher in the entire world, so I'm pretty qualified for this job. So, with that, let's get right into 5 tips on how to improve in HVV in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Our first tip that we're going to be starting today off with is management. Possibly the most crucial thing in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, what is management, you may ask? Well, management is always managing the time of your health regen, your health, your blocking stamina, your position, everything. Your abilities, all their cooldowns, everything. So you always have to just be paying attention. If you aren't always constantly looking at how much stamina, health you have, and how much time left is on your abilities, well, then you're never going to do good, as you're always going to be this anxious fighter who never knows actually what's going on. My tip is to never go into battles if your health is not above that gray line where it's still regenerating. You never want to go into a fight if you're not at full health. For blocking stamina, you always have to be at max too. Make sure to kind of jump away when you're low on stamina, or use some of your abilities such as Grievous's Claw Rush to easily get away from the premises and regenerate your stamina. As for abilities, always check the cooldown they're on. Abilities don't actually have too long of a recharge time in this game, which makes them actually really good, as you always really get to use them. So always just make sure to check that what's the time at, how much longer do I have this ability, do I have all the charges of it, etc. What you also want to be doing is you're looking at is your position, managing your position. Where are you? Do you need to be there? What am I doing right now? If you're not doing anything to help the team, well, then you're not doing anything in general. All you're going to be doing is just being dead weight for easy kills for the enemy team. Always want to be asking yourself, what can I do right now to be better? And if there's no answer to that question, then you're perfect. If there's any answers to that question, you're not perfect. You always want to be right there in the action, but not too close into the action. Get a little bit of spacing, more management. Just give yourself spacing between you and the enemy, and make sure you're never getting too aggressive or just being too in the battle. It's okay to retreat, but never do a full-on retreat. You need to help out your team. Our second tip here today is aggression. Never want to be too aggressive in your fights. Not only is aggression the path to the dark side, but aggression is also the path to getting yourself killed and making your team hate you. You never want to be saber spamming any fight, really regardless of the situation. Any more than 4 saber swings in a short period of time means you're saber spamming. You just don't do it. Like I said in the last tip, you never want to go into attacks and fights unless your health is full regenerated, and you can easily feel free to step back and regain your stamina and your health. There's no need to not be at max health while fighting, and really not going in there while fighting with max health is just a death sentence. But we're on aggression here, and this is possibly another one of the biggest tips I can give you. Never be too aggressive. Like I said in management, you want to be keeping spacing. You never want to be too up there in the battle, but you still want to be doing enough where you're helping your team and you're not just watching. But if you're going in there and you're just going guns blazing, you aren't caring about your health, your stamina, even your ability cooldown, you're just swinging as hard as you can, you're never going to win. An easy way to defeat this aggression is just by holding up your block. You want to keep your block up. That's going to prevent you from doing all these saber spammings. Really make you think about the situation. Another easy way to fix your aggression if you are finding that you're being really aggressive in fights is to just stay back and let your team start the fight, and then you can come in and finish it. Or try to handle a 1v2 where you can't be as aggressive and you have to use tactics such as blocking and dashing. It's also something that can easily be practiced with, as the AI will not tolerate aggression and will easily kill you if you go too aggressive. It'll block all your swings and retaliate in full force. With the addition of parrying, being aggressive also has another downside. Enemies can easily parry all of your attacks and do instant big damage to your health that's unblockable. So just never want to find yourself saber spamming. You never want to be in too much action. You still want to be in enough action to help your team. Remember, keep that spacing, keep that managing, and keep that block up, and you'll be good. Trust me. Our third tip also just happens to be my biggest tip for all of you Battlefront 2 babies out there. Practice parrying. This is so important in so many fights, and it's such a key thing as it allows you to totally dominate spammers who just try to spam swing you, but then you come in with your spam parrying. Parrying is a way of dealing damage through block, but it's also a way of countering aggression. The way to parry, I'll give you a little hint here, is never attack too early on parrying. The parry timings are a little bit weird in this game. You always want to be parrying a little bit late. How do you parry, you may ask? When you take a lightsaber swing to your block, okay? So you block a lightsaber swing. Right after their animation is finished, then you do your saber swing just as their blade stops touching your sword. Maybe you can do it a little bit later. I like to do it just as it stops touching my sword. Then if you do it correctly, you will do a parry strike, an unblockable strike that does big damage to their health, and is such a good way of doing spam and dealing with spam swingers, because it also gives you invulnerability frames. Why would you want to practice parry? It doesn't sound too hard. You will need to do this really against anyone who swings. Really in a lightsaber duel, and a spam swinger, but even more importantly in a 1v2 or 1v3s. Has some great footage of this with Vader in my SmackDown montage, which you can really go check out right about now in the top right. But parry spamming is a way to deal with saber spamming, and it's such a good counter to so many different things that parrying is so essential. What I recommend doing is going to either arcade, if you aren't as good, and just testing out an instant action against some of the enemy heroes, as they have a little bit more robotic-like times with their swings, and it's really easy for you to get some great parry practice there. Or if you don't want to do that, just go to HVV and try to single out one or two bad players. Then use those bad players for them to saber spam you, for you to parry spam them, and finally defeat them once and for all. Parrying is the biggest, most important hidden thing that most people don't realize. If you aren't taking advantage of your parry timings, well then you aren't going to be doing that good in saber fights. It's essential for duels, essential for 1v3s, and it's so good for dominating those saber spammers who think they can just spam, and you tell them, no, you cannot. Practice parrying, spamming, or just parrying in general, and you will become a complete god at this game. You really don't even need to learn anything else, just remember, learn how to parry, guys. My fourth tip for you Battlefront babies out there is just so happens to be another huge tip, and this one is team play. You'll notice I'm not that good at it currently in the footage, so I've been actually practicing this one myself, so see, sometimes even pros need a little bit of practice here and there. Team play, another huge factor. Stick with your team, guys. You never want to be that one guy who just tries to 1v4 every single scenario. Your team will hate you. Perfect team play is the secret to success, really. You can't win without perfect team play, really regardless of how good you are. No one can win a 1v4. This really just means sticking with your team. You never really want to leave your teammates' side, and you never really want to let them down. Don't put them in a bad situation, but also don't put yourself in a bad situation, but they're there to help you with that. Another big aspect of this is don't fight any 1v2s, 3s, or 4s you're sure you can't handle. You never want to do a 1v4, but in the right situation, you occasionally can do a 1v2 or 3, characters such as Boss or Vader. Another big aspect here of team play is sticking with your teammates such as Yoda and Finn, who can buff you. I mean, why would you not want to just get free buffs from your teammate? Come on, are you insane? Are you crazy? Why wouldn't you? As long as you stick next to your team, really regardless if you don't have any buffs, you're going to win, as the 4 sabers are so much stronger combined than 4 sabers that aren't working together. You stick with your team, and well, albeit a little bit campy playstyle, you really can't lose, and it also makes the game a lot more fun. As long as you aren't running away and trying to do things yourself and trying to be this big show, you really shouldn't have any problems with team play, and it should allow you to easily take some victories. My final expert tip, loaf tip here for you today, is to find a main. Find that main hero character that you just enjoy in playing, that you find to be the best. I know that sounds kind of cheesy and whatever, I mean, come on, really? Do I really need to find a main? How is this going to help me? But expert studies show that with a character that you play more often and enjoy them, you're going to end up knowing their abilities, their damage, their timings, everything that that character has. You're going to know it in a little bit more details. You're actually going to get to know that character better. This isn't the biggest tip, that's why I saved it kind of for last, worst for last, haha. But it is still very important. Just a few weeks ago, I found out that Yoda was just my unqualified favorite, and now, still to this day, I love him. I know all of his abilities, I know some little tricks of him, like how his R1 goes through block, his dash strike. I know his best star cards. Get to know that one hero on both light side and dark side that you just instantly know you're going to pick. Once you've kind of memorized that character's abilities, you're going to end up finding a lot more special strategies and having overall a lot more fun with that character. Without a main, it's going to be a little bit harder to succeed, but you don't need a main to survive. I recommend just testing every character out in arcade. What abilities seem fun to you? What characters' personalities do you like? Are there any special traits this character has that you like? Etc. Find a character that fits your playstyle and fits your needs, and use them to succeed to your maximum potential. Once you've found your main, you can have a lot more success on both the light side and the dark side. I'd like to thank everybody for coming to this video. It's a little bit of a shorter video that it took me to make, but this Yoda video is really taking a long time because it's really hard to edit things when your footage gets deleted every single time you try to edit things. I'm trying to get that out as soon as possible with how busy my life is. That might be a little bit later. Thanks for coming to my top 5 loaf top picks for HVV. There will be more of these videos coming out eventually, and I just hope that you Battlefront 2 babies can actually turn into pros like me. See you the next time. Bye. As always, it's been your favorite loaf.